Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So have you seen the video on the rectangular coordinate system and circles? I hope you've seen that. And I haven't announced yet, but okay. We will have our next live session on Monday next week, but that's still tentative. Okay. Now, I will just be again sending you the video links for the other topics, the next topics, probably on parabolas and then ellipses, and I think up to that topic, ellipses. All right. I hope that this setup is okay with you. Now, the only difference is that it's not live and you cannot ask questions on the session itself. But I have my consultation. So please just email me one day before you need to consult with me. So since I have discussed in the previous video circles, so we'll now proceed for this live session on the topic of lines. And we will begin by defining what is meant by the slope of a line. Okay, wait. There. And you are already familiar with the definition of the slope of a line, of course, but let's just refresh you on that. So we know that to get the slope of a line, we need at least 2 points. Well, you can be given more than 2 points, but we know that the slope is independent of the 2 points chosen. And of course, you can determine if 3 points are collinear by checking if they have the same slopes. Or rather, you get the same slope no matter which 2 points you choose. Now, if we know the coordinates of 2 points on a line, then we compute the slope by dividing the change in y over the change in x as given here in the definition. So suppose the coordinates are x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, then the slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So it's the change in y over the change in x as seen in the figure here. Here are the points x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, and geometrically, the slope of the line is the ratio between this side of the right triangle here and this side, which is just the vertical change over the horizontal change, or y sub 2 minus y sub 1 and x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So again, the slope is just the ratio of the vertical change over the horizontal change, the change in y and the change in x. And it measures the steepness of the line, meaning a greater slope would mean a steeper line, and a lesser slope would be a less steep line. Now, just some observations here. As I have mentioned a while ago, the slope of a line is unique, meaning it doesn't matter which 2 points you choose on the line. As long as, of course, you are given collinear points. Then you just pick any 2 and then use those 2 to compute the slope of the line. Now, the slope can be positive, negative, or zero in value. Now, a positive slope, of course, would mean that the line, as you read the graph from left to right, would be rising. And a negative slope would mean the line would be falling. Of course, again, as you read the graph from left to right, as you move in the positive x direction. And a zero slope would mean it's neither rising nor falling. And we know that horizontal lines are the only lines that have zero slope, no inclination, no steepness. And finally, what if the line is vertical? We know that the vertical line has infinite slope. Okay, because when you divide by the change in x, we know that since it's a vertical line, there is no change in x. In a vertical line, all the x coordinates are the same. Okay, I hope that is clear. So when you divide the change in y over the change in x, when the change in x is 0, you'll be dividing the change in y by a 0 change. And we know that dividing by 0 is not defined. So we say that the slope of a vertical line is not defined, or rather that it has an infinite slope. Now, if you've read the material, actually there, the derivations of the different forms of an equation of a line are given, but we will not be doing that or showing the derivations here. Anyway, what you really need is an understanding of how to use those different forms of an equation of a line to solve problems in analytic geometry. So let's start with the point slope form. From the term itself, we know that here, in this particular form of an equation of a line, you have there in the equation itself appearing the point or a point on the line and the slope of the line. So suppose that we are given the slope of the line here, an equation of a line with slope m, and a point on the line. Call that point P sub 1 with coordinates x sub 1, y sub 1. Then we can immediately write down its equation in this way. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times quantity x minus x sub 1. So some other textbooks use x sub 0 or x naught and y sub 0 or y naught. Doesn't matter as long as we have a given point on the line. So here, right away, if we write the equation of a line in this form, we can right away tell a point on the line, x sub 1, y sub 1, and the slope of the line. Hence the term point slope form. So let's apply that with an example here. You are given 2 points on the line. This is the basic type of questions, okay, on lines, where given 2 points, find an equation of it. So suppose that the points are 8, 1, and negative 1, 5. How do we find the equation of the line passing through those 2 points? Well, to find the equation of a line using the point slope form, we need 2 things. Of course, the point, and then a point, and then the slope. Now, with regards to a point, there's no problem because we are given more than 1 point. Okay, in fact, we have 2 points, so we can choose either to write down this equation. So we just need to find the slope. And to find the slope, we need 2 points. And again, we are given 2 points here, so it's really not hard to solve this problem. So step 1, let's find m, the slope of the line. And it's again the change in y over the change in x. So here, this is your x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So you just compute the change in y, 5 minus 1, over the change in x, negative 1 minus 8. You have to proceed in the same direction for your y and your x so that you get a correct sign for the slope. So we have the value of the slope to be negative 4/9. So is there any question? If you have, just send a message in the chat box or just unmute your microphone anytime. Okay. So in other words, you compute the slope, you get negative 4/9. So we are now ready to write down an equation of it, of the line. So step 2, since we only have the point slope form so far, so let's write it in point slope form. By the way, in the problem, there's no requirement regarding the particular form of its equation. So you can use any form of an equation of a line. So write in point slope form. So we have a point, we have 2 points here, and we have the slope. So let's choose 8, 1 to be our x sub 1, y sub 1 here. So merely plugging in, we have the point slope form as this. Okay? Y minus 1 equals the slope, negative 4/9 times x minus 8. So this is a correct equation for the line. Of course, it is not unique, okay, because you can put any point there on the point slope form, in the point slope form there, but they will eventually be the same when we solve for y in terms of x. So the point slope form of an equation of a line, okay, remember this, is not unique. Okay, as long as you have a point that is on the line, you can put it there, here, in this equation to get an equation of the line that you're looking for. So next, let's go to the slope intercept form. And again, for the derivation, you may want to consult the handout or the ebook if you have purchased one. So let's state the slope intercept form. The equation of a line with slope m and y-intercept b is given by, you're already familiar with this. High school students are very familiar with this. Y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope again, b is the y-intercept, hence the name slope intercept form. So let's see that, how to use that in the problem below. So this problem, okay, is not about circles, although we have discussed circles, so we will be needing that knowledge. But here, note that we are looking for a line. However, to find its equation, we need something about the circle. But we are given the y-intercept, so that means we already know b. Remember, b is the y-intercept. So that means we only need to find the slope, m. And if we get it, then we're done. We write it in slope-intercept form quickly. Now the question is, how do we get the slope of the line? So to get the slope, again, how many points do we need? We need at least 2 points. 2 points are enough. But do we have 2 points given in the problem? If you read the problem, you'll see that the y-intercept is given. And in fact, the y-intercept is a point on the line. By the way, the y-intercept is the point where the line intersects the y-axis. So that means it's also a point on the line. So that means we just need to find one more point on the line. And where do we get that point? Of course, from somewhere here in this given. So this is an equation of a circle. And remember, there are 2 forms of an equation of a circle that we have discussed: the standard form and the general form. The standard form is simply the center radius form. So this one is in standard form. So we need to write it in center radius form to get its center and its radius. But we will only be needing the center of this circle, y. Okay, so again, we just need to find M since we already know B. And now we are going to find step 1, the center of the circle. Why do we need the center of the circle? Well, observe that in the problem, it says that the line contains a diameter of the circle. Now, there are infinitely many diameters, and one thing in common among the diameters of a circle is that they all pass through its center. They are, the term for that is concurrent there. Okay? So that means that the center of the circle itself is a point on the line. Okay? Is that clear? Since the line passes through the center. Why does the line pass through the center of the circle? Because it contains a diameter, and therefore the circle is the center of the circle is a point on the line. So with that, we just find the center by converting the equation of the circle into standard form or in standard form. So we need to complete the squares. So remember, so let's recall again, how do we complete the squares? We group the x's and we group the y's, and then all the constants we put on the other side of the equation, okay? Usually on the right-hand side, and all the variables on the left-hand side. So that means we already have the constant here, so no problem with that. So we just regroup or rearrange. So we have x squared plus 2x and then y squared minus 4y. And we complete the squares for each variable by, okay, dividing, remember, the linear counterpart, the coefficient, by 2 and then squaring that. So for example here, x squared plus 2x, to make it a perfect square, we divide 2 by 1 and then we square the result, so we add 1. Okay, I hope that's clear. If you have a question, just, okay, ask. So similarly, for y squared, for the variable y, you just divide this coefficient by 2 and then square the result, so that would give you 4. And remember, whatever you add to one side, you also add to the other side. So we added 1 plus 4, so we also add 1 plus 4 to the right-hand side. So we can now factor out the left-hand side, which actually just contains perfect squares, and then the right-hand side is a perfect square also. It's not always the case. So we know from the right-hand side that the radius of the circle is 3, but actually in this problem, it's not needed. In fact, even if you get an incorrect radius here, you will still get the correct answer for the equation of the line, assuming, of course, you did the other things right. So from the equation, we can now tell the center to be at, so you equate each factor here to 0. So we know the center to be at -1, 2. So what have we done in step 1? We have found the center of the circle. Why do we need this? Because we know it's a point on the line. So now we have 2 points on the line. The y-intercept 9 and the center -1, 2 of the circle. So now we are ready for step 2. We can now compute the slope, okay, using those 2 points. Again, the y-intercept and the center of the circle. Now, by the way, since it's a y-intercept, that means its x-coordinate is 0 and its y-coordinate is 9. Okay, so it's not 9, 0, but 0, 9. So computing the slope using those 2 points, we get 7. Again, one more time, 9 minus 2, or all over 0 minus -1, or you can proceed in this direction, 2 minus 9, then -1 minus 0, you'll get the same. Should get the same sign and value, of course. So now that we have the slope and we have the y-intercept of 9, we just use y equals mx plus b, and we have the equation of the line. Y equals 7x, again, that's m, and then 9 is b, mx plus b. So is there any question so far? Okay, so let's proceed. Now I'll be just, although I think this will not appear in the departmental quiz, but anyway, I'll just be mentioning another form of an equation of a line, and that is the general form. And it's simply the form where all the terms are on one side of the equation. So that means all you have to do is transpose all the terms on one side. So let's transpose everything on the left-hand side here. So let's use this as an example. So we transpose all terms. We have this. Or rather, we transpose y on the right-hand side. So we get this. It's also okay to transpose to the left-hand side. It's just the same, although different in appearance. Now, we have 7x minus y plus 9 equals 0, equivalent to this equation. They represent the same line, but they are different types or different forms. So we call this the general form of its equation, or an equation of a line. And generally, the general form is written this way: ax plus by plus c equals 0, where again, a, b, and c are constants. So let's have one more problem here. So let's read. Find the slope and y-intercept of the line whose equation is 2x plus 3y minus 12 equals 0. Now this is in general form. Now notice that the problem requires you to find the slope m and the y-intercept b. And we already know the slope-intercept form to be y equals mx plus b. So if we can write this in slope-intercept form, then we can right away, based on the equation, give m and b. So in other words, what we have to do is simply rewrite this, convert it to slope-intercept form, and then we can answer the problem. So to convert it in slope-intercept form, you just have to solve for y. So transpose all terms not containing y. You have this. Change the sign, of course, when you transpose. And then you divide by 3 to get the mx plus b form. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. So that's the slope-intercept form. So that tells us m is negative 2/3 and b is 4. So we can quickly answer the problem. Slope is negative 2/3, y-intercept is 4. Okay? Who has, again, a question on this current example? Okay. Now, next, we won't prove these or this theorem. Well, if you're interested, I think in the ebook, the proof is given. But all you need to survive in this course, of course, is to know when lines are parallel and when lines are perpendicular. Now, you already know this, of course. So let's just recall. Two lines, say L1 and L2, with slopes M1 and M2 are, okay, number one, parallel if their slopes are equal. That is, stated mathematically, M1 is equal to M sub 2. And we know that they are perpendicular if they are negative. The slopes are negative reciprocals of each other, meaning M sub 1 equals the negative of 1 over M sub 2. Now, we have encountered this theorem a lot in high school. So I suppose there should be not much of a problem applying them, okay, in examples or in exercises. So let's have this one. So here we want to find a perpendicular to a given line segment. We are told that the line segment contains the 2 points here. It passes through those 2 points. We also are told that the line we are looking for has y-intercept 10. Okay, you have to understand the problem carefully. You might mistake that to be the y-intercept of the line segment when the line segment may not even intersect the y-axis, right? Because it's just a segment. So it may be finite, or it may just be going to one direction, okay? A half ray. So let's solve this problem here. Now, we want a perpendicular line to the line segment. So again, to get the equation of a line, we need two things: its slope and either a point on it, or particularly the y-intercept, which is, of course, a point on it. So let's solve the problem. First step, find the slope of the line. Rather here, the line segment. Why are we first looking for the slope of the line segment? Because we need its slope. If we can get its slope, then we take the negative reciprocal, we get the slope of the perpendicular line. So computing the slope of this line segment using those coordinates, we get 2 as the slope of the line segment. And once you've gotten that, you take the negative reciprocal, you know that the slope of the line is -1/2. So don't forget to take the reciprocal and also to take the negative. So sometimes students forget to take either the reciprocal or the negative. So what is the equation of the line? You can use any form. So let's use mx plus b form. We have the slope -1/2, but of course, since we are directly given the y-intercept in the problem, no need to use point slope form. So mx plus b, this already is b, y-intercept. So mx plus b, y equals -1/2 x plus 10. Okay, that would be it for now. I don't want to proceed to the next topic so as not to burden you with a lot of things to study, okay? But I hope you do the practice exercises there. I've shown it here, and it's better if you do them as soon as possible so that if there are problems that you cannot solve, then okay, my internet connection is unstable. Can you still hear me?
Are we still?
Okay, but am I choppy?
It doesn't affect your teaching naman po, sir. It's not
Okay, so
bad.
it's me. Kasi nag-message dito sa akin, your internet connection is unstable. Okay, so that would be it for today. Okay, will you, no, solutions for the practice exercises will be for consultation. Okay? All right, bye class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right.